Hey guys, welcome back to Uncensored. Today I fell upon a very interesting video called Will Joe Rogan Platform Nick Fuentes? Now, I do not want to spoil the video, so let's just jump right into it.
And here you got this young guy with a very high verbal IQ.
Mm-hmm.
And he also does a lot of shit posting, a lot of talking shit, a lot of trolling, says women shouldn't be allowed to vote, says wild shit. And that Piers Morgan thing is like, bro, that was like an expert sparring with someone who thought they were an expert.
Sure.
Like they're playing two totally
I
different
agree.
games.
And it's also the thing that people try to get Fuentes on is that he's still funny as fuck.
It's funny.
It is undeniable that Nick is very funny, very charming, and Nick knows how to articulate himself in a way in which most people do not know how to. And that is the reason why he has the ears of the youth.
Extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon?
So that's where you're in a lot of trouble.
When he hits him, do you think you made jokes about the Holocaust? He goes, too soon? Like, dude.
Yeah.
And you could see
He's wild.
You could see Piers going, oh fuck.
Bro,
You can see in Piers Morgan's face that he was shocked because people do not make a joke about the Holocaust. They can make joke about slavery, but never the Holocaust. The fact that Nick made a joke like that in public, online, yeah, Piers Morgan was like, I've never dealt with that before. And no one has ever dealt with a character like Nick.
It's like, me mom died. I was like, holy shit.
Bro, he got hit.
All right, so Joe Rogan seems to be getting closer and closer to having Nick Fuentes on his podcast, which Joe obviously wants to have him on, but does he want to deal with the shitstorm that comes with it? That's the big question that's holding him back. You know, I'm sure he's trying to determine if it's worth it or not.
I do believe that Joe is going to platform Nick Fuentes. The reason why I'm saying that is because Joe wants to know why people are behind certain people, why they have such a pull. And truth to be told, there is no one right now that has the ears of the youth as Nick Fuentes. No one. That's why he has the group called the Grippers. They follow him to death. They are willing to fight for him, as he's willing to fight for the Grippers. Now, again, I don't agree with the rhetoric that Nick is spreading out there, but I can see why the youth follow him. The youth are suffering. They can barely rent a house. They can barely buy a home. They barely have food on the table for themselves. They don't have enough money to do anything in their life. Yeah, I can see why they follow Nick Fuentes. They are mad. And Nick channels their anger. And the youth look at Nick as someone that can fight for them.
Because the podcast will be one of his biggest shows in a while, and it seems like Joe really wants to have a conversation with him, but it's just going to cause such a headache, which Joe's used to having controversial people on and getting backlash for it.
Joe Rogan is friends with a lot of people in the Republic side, and they don't like Nick. They want Nick to be deplatformed. Will Joe take that risk? I don't believe he will. See, Joe is so used to going against the media, the big stream, the mainstream. He's okay with that. But to go against the Republic, Joe does not dare. He does not dare. That's the reason why he's contemplating. Even though he wants to talk to Nick, he's afraid that he might get affected.
So it seems like at this point you wouldn't care, but having Nick on is a different story. Because normally it's the usual suspects attacking Joe, you know, the mainstream media, people on the left. But with Nick, I think most of the attacks will come from people on the right and former guests and friends of Joe's. I mean, Joe has to know if he has on Nick, Jordan Peterson will be devastated. Like, he absolutely despises Nick, and Jordan called him a psychopathic rat.
And if Joe platform Nick, he's like indirectly saying to Jordan Peterson, I don't care who you like or you don't like. So far as I like that person, I'll platform him. And that can be a problem. Not just with Jordan Peterson, but a lot of people in the right, they might not like that. Because Nick is pulling people. He's attacking people in the right community. He's a polarizing figure, both for the left and for the right.
And the last time he was on Joe's podcast, he spent a lot of time trying to warn Joe about platforming people like him. Because at the beginning of last year, Joe had on Ian Carroll and Daryl Cooper, who aren't as extreme or nearly as popular as Nick, but they're very anti-Israel and question the official narrative of World War II and the Holocaust and Jewish influence in America. So Rogan was kind of testing the waters with them, and those episodes were really polarizing. They received a lot of criticism and praise. It also led to that debate with Dave Smith and Douglas Murray, where Douglas, who has been a guest on Rogan's podcast a handful of times, and at one point they might have considered each other friends, but probably not anymore, because Douglas claimed Joe was platforming anti-Semites and promoting dangerous ideas to his audience.
I don't think anyone should tell Joe who should be his guest or not. I believe that Joe should go the way he has always done, which is to ask people very interesting questions and to bring people that are interesting on his podcast, because the people that Joe find interesting, we find them interesting too. I don't watch all of Joe episodes, and I watch some of it, but the ones that I used to watch before, especially when he used to bring Jordan Peterson, I used to think that was so good, that was so fascinating. I used to love it. I used to love when he brought Jordan Peterson on.
And is heading down a bad path.
What these two guys in particular have said on repeated podcasts with both of you, it's an attempt to downplay Hitler. This is the shtick of these guys. They've decided it's edgy and funny, and I think this is very, very interesting and also very